This work session, regular meeting of the Township Council is called to order. In accordance with Section 5 of the Open Public Meeting Act, Chapter 231, Public Law 1975, be advised that adequate notice of this work session, regular meeting of the Township Council of the Township of Franklin, County of Somerset, was made by the posting on the bulletin board at the municipal complex and transmitted to the officially designated newspapers a list of dates annually indicating that this work session regular meeting would take place at the Franklin Township Municipal Complex at 7 o'clock p.m. on Tuesday, July 8th, 2014. In addition, a copy of this notice is and has been available to the public and is on file in the office of the municipal clerk. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Remain for the invocation, which will be given by myself.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Let us each take, in the next few moments of silence, to seek in our own way whatever sources of inspiration will grant us the strength and power in our thoughts and decisions to be for the benefit of all people at all times, and let the council get wisdom and empathy in its decisions for our township. Amen.
Amen.
Madam Clerk, please call the roll of the council.
Councilman Chase.
Here.
Councilwoman Francois. Councilman Kramer.
Here.
Mayor Levine.
Here.
Councilman Prasad. Deputy Mayor Regan.
Here.
Councilwoman Sherman.
Here.
Councilman Vasanella.
Here.
Councilman Wright.
Okay, thank you very much. We have a quorum. We're following along on our agenda. Feel free to come by our clerk, Ms. McCarthy, where there are agendas and associated resolutions and ordinances. We're at number 5 on the agenda, commendations and proclamations, which we have the 2014 Drive Sober or Get Pulled Over crackdown. So joining me at the podium will be Deputy Mayor Brian Regan.
Proclamation. Whereas from mid-August through Labor Day, local police will be out in force as part of an annual statewide Drive Sober or Get Pulled Over crackdown on impaired driving. And whereas the crackdown will include high visibility enforcement throughout Franklin Township and will run from August 15th through September 1st, 2014. And whereas the officers in Franklin Township Police Department will be aggressively looking for impaired drivers during the crackdown and will arrest anyone caught driving impaired. And whereas every year, about 1/3 of all motor vehicle traffic deaths involve one or more impaired drivers or motorcycle operators, and holidays such as Labor Day are particularly dangerous. And whereas impaired drivers take a particularly heavy toll among young drivers, and whereas research has shown that high visibility enforcement like the Drive Sober or Get Pulled Over campaign reduces impaired driving fatalities by as much as 20%, and by joining this statewide effort, Franklin's roadways will be made safer for everyone throughout the Labor Day period. And whereas the Franklin Police Department wants to remind everyone that getting behind the wheel impaired is a terrible idea, as it impairs your ability to operate a vehicle safely and impairs your judgment and good sense about whether you can or should drive. And whereas being arrested for impaired drunk driving brings a wide range of negative consequences into one's life, such as jail time, loss of driver's license, and steep financial consequences such as higher insurance rates, attorney fees, court costs, lost time at work, and the potential loss of one's jobs, along with tremendous personal embarrassment. And whereas impaired drunk driving is simply not worth the risk. Now, therefore, I, Deputy Mayor Brian Regan, along with Mayor Brian D. Levine, and on behalf of the Township Council, do hereby proclaim and announce August 15, 2014, through September 1st, 2014,
I know, I did already.
as Drive Sober
It's okay.
or Get Pulled Over
Yeah.
2014 crackdown weeks in the Township of Franklin, and urge all citizens to drive sober or get pulled over while traveling on our roadways. What this proclamation fails to mention is that as a test for your sobriety, you will be asked to read this proclamation without messing up during it, with all the whereases and impaired driving, and then whatnot. Like, if you can get through it, I guess you prove your case that you're sober. So, though you may have heard me speak many times about distracted driving, texting, I see it many times on the corner of Van Cleef and Blackwell Mills Road, where people are waiting to make a left. I see, the hand on the wheel, the phone in the ear, and they're looking around and they're trying to make a left. It's just really dangerous. So, I've asked, and we've had multiple efforts within the town for the police department to look out for that. I just seen one of the statistics that it's our most ticketed offense here in town, over 500 incidents to date this year. So we are out looking for that. Naturally, driving impaired is even worse, right? Serious life. In both, texting, distracted driving, it's just terrible consequences, especially if you as the driver survive. I mean, and if you kill someone, that's something that obviously I think, would be very hard for anybody to live with, the fact that they knew they took somebody's life because they were impaired driving or they were distracted driving. So please help residents of Franklin. Please help make our town a safe town for our residents and all those passerbys that travel through the town. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Yeah, so I'll just, he said just mention her name.
Okay.
So I'll-
Thank you.
Okay.
Okay, and it's we are getting a grant from the state of New Jersey in Franklin Township to help us with that, looking for driving while under the influence. So thanks to Deputy Mayor for doing that for us. We're out now at item number 6, Mayor's Report. And last week was the 4th of July, of course, and due to weather predictions and actuality, we postponed our fireworks. They will be this Friday, July 11th, 2014. Thus comes to my mug this week, which is Mary Poppins, a great story, but people in centuries and thousands of years ago would have thought How We Live in America is a fairy tale with all of our rights and freedoms, and you can get on the train or plane and travel this great country, and you can come up to the microphone if you so choose and tell all of us what a terrible job we're doing, and you have the right to do that, and that's part of the great country we have. So that's where that comes from today. So this Friday, as we're having this meeting, July 11th, please come to our fireworks, one of the great displays that we have. This Saturday, on the 12th, our congressman representing this area, Rush Holt, who is not seeking re-election, so this is his last term, will have a town hall meeting right here in these council chambers. He invites you, and all of us invite you. You can tell him what is on your mind, especially for federal issues, but anything else is certainly fair game. Our meetings are generally on the second and fourth Tuesdays of the month. Exceptions are July, August, and December, where there's only meeting on the second Tuesday. So this will be the only meeting in July. And you can see what's on the meetings on our website. That's generally the weekend before. You can look at the agenda. You can click on the ordinances, resolutions, and see the entire item that's coming up. It's actually pretty good. You can sign up for updates so that you can be notified when anything is happening. And as always, we invite you to contact us, email, whatever your favorite mode of communication, fax, phone call, letter, to tell us what is on your mind. For fun or information, you can follow my Mayor Brian Levine Facebook or Twitter accounts, and hopefully I'll have something on there of interest. And that's short and sweet what's on the mayor's report for today. So I'll go to item number 7, pardon me, Deputy Mayor's report. Deputy Mayor Brian Regan.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Yes, just a real short report. As the mayor did mention, our representative in Congress will be here on Saturday. I will be here also as part of that effort. Not that you'll be coming to see me, but our congressman has been a real good representative of our area and of his district. So, it would be really nice for folks to show up and to thank him for all his work, because whether you agree with him politically or his politics or not, what I think people should really recognize is the sacrifice that folks make being in public life and serving at office, and whether that's at the Congress office or the federal level or county and even municipality. There's a lot of work that goes on and time that you spend away from home outside of the hours like we sit here. There are many hours in a week that we're sitting in subcommittees. So, and traveling to Washington obviously is also a commitment. So, hopefully people can at least appreciate that aspect of paying thanks to our representative.
Oh, that was the deal.
As you all, know by now, our 4th of July fireworks has been rescheduled to this coming Friday. The weather's supposed to be really nice. I spoke to our township manager, Bob Warnlock, this morning, so he said that he had to rearrange some things to make sure that the weather was going to be good, but it was managed to pull it off so far, and it looks, the weather report looks good, so we should go off there.
Put on my meter on.
In our consent agenda this evening, you'll see a number of items of purchase, some computers, and some other items, vehicles. Again, just as a reminder, those are items that were part of our spending plan, which we approved earlier in the year, so it's not something new. It's just part of what was already part of our budgeted year this year. So I hope everyone continues to enjoy the summer. I will actually be on vacation for the next council meeting. I will be out of state, so I won't be at the August meeting. I'm sure you'll all enjoy the meeting, though, and I'll be back in September then. All right, thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. So now we come to public discussion.
I sent you his name.
And in a few moments, I'll ask if anyone wants to speak on a particular ordinance. It's I'll explain at the time, got to do with curb connection fees for water. But at that point, it's only speaking on that particular ordinance. So this is the only time to speak of anything of a general nature that is on your mind. We're glad to hear what's on your mind. Our policy for our public discussion is people can come up once per meeting, and there's no yielding of time. We give you 5 minutes to say what's on your mind or ask any of your questions. You'll come up to the podium, pull the microphone kind of close to yourself, about 3 or 4 inches. That way we hear you, and the audio picks it up, and we're being video taped also, so please note that that's happening too. If we can answer your questions, we certainly will. If it's something we have to get back to you, regarding, we will certainly do that also. I think that kind of covers it. It's a 5-minute time limit. There's a timer, so when you hear a tone goes off, that means 3 minutes has elapsed. And after multiple tones, that means 5 minutes is elapsed. Now let's get to wrap up your thoughts, please. And again, off time, you feel free to email, call, fax, write to us. We're glad to hear what's on your minds. So is there a motion to open the meeting for public discussion?
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? Motion is carried. This meeting is open for public discussion on any item of interest, which does not have a public hearing of its own. Anyone interested in speaking, please raise your hand, and when I recognize you, come to the podium and give us your name and address. Anyone want anything to tell us? Mrs. Peterson.
My name is Carol Peterson, and I live at 12 Lake Avenue in Somerset. Council members, Mayor Levine, Manager, Mr. Warnbacher, you know who I am. I'm not,
Just pull it a little close. No, pull it a little
a little
closer.
closer?
Yeah.
Okay.
Good.
I'm here regarding odor ordinances and air quality in the township. Okay? How you enforce ordinances, I've struggled with you in the past, as you know. I'm struggling again. I live in a residence that is bordered on one side by a person who seems to think that you can burn trash even when it's 100 degrees outside. So you walk outside, you're hit by a plume of smoke coming at you that causes you to cough. It's very humid, a lot of humidity, so it's being held in the air. I live behind a new family that's moved in. They've been visited by the health department, the police, the Department of Environmental Protection, and they're using their home, regardless of what anybody else thinks, as a food manufacturing facility. I've been told that the health department and everybody's been there before, they don't see anything, but they go by appointment. And nobody's going to do anything wrong if you visit by appointment. The Department of Environmental Protection did visit them a week ago. Must have scared them because for 2 days they did absolutely nothing. And they showed up without an appointment, but said their kitchen was a normal kitchen. I've heard the excuse that people can't smell it, yet you can smell it on weekends when you hit the corner of Lake and Hill. You can smell it on Hill, clear past 19, and you can smell it on Lake, depending upon which way the wind is blowing, halfway down the block. Okay, everybody got my drift? I've been told to keep my windows and doors closed. I've had them closed. I even have storm windows on. My house fills every night at 11:30 p.m. with smoke so strong it sets off odor sensors into critical zones. I've had 2 children I've struggled with all winter who nearly were sent to the hospital on numerous occasions. I'm now having hypersensitivity reactions to some of the food that's being cooked, along with what's being burnt in the smoke. It seems that since nobody can smell it, nobody responds, and I've been told to call the police, which I called the police at 1 o'clock in the morning. I used the non-emergency line. They left me on hold for 8 minutes and told me, period, there's nothing they can do about it. So I'm here making a proposal. Since nobody can smell it but my family, which is being affected, and other families have smelled it as well, and visitors who've been to my house. And nobody can seem to respond, and it's always call the Board Police Department. I'm making a recommendation that we become high-tech in Franklin to clean up the air. You can buy a handheld sensor that will pick up multiple odors. You plug it into a computer. It reads out the quantity of the odor and what's being dispersed. And give them to the police, since they're the ones who are supposed to be responding, and since it's happening in evening hours, night hours, and weekends, then this would be some way you can go and find out what they're doing, when they're doing it, and find them and do something about it. My family is struggling, and it's not because we are the, quote, harassers, which the police have the audacity to go to both families and say, if you feel your neighbor is harassing you, sue them. I am not the harasser. I'm just looking out for my children, as well as the other 24 children who now live between Hamilton Street, on Lake Avenue, Coon, and Hill Avenue. And 5 to 6 of these are under the age of 3 years of age, and 2 are babies of that. So I hope you can help me take it into consideration, because the next thing you're going to need to put in your police's hands is noise detectors. And you know, Mrs. Sherman, what I'm talking about. If they put in PA systems, ears hear differently, noses smell differently based upon genetics and what that ear and that nose has been exposed to. And I thank you very much.
Okay, thank you. We know how to contact. Yes, Mr. Tibbs.
Johnny is Tibbs, 25 Parkside. You see, I have my shirt on, Youth Initiative, FYI shirt. I thought I would put that on purposely since I've been dealing with the kids for the past couple of days and the whole pool situation. I don't know the word calamity, or travesty, or one of those words. It's what I've been dealing with in terms of the pool. I visited the pool on a number of occasions. One day I went over there. I had counted 25 kids outside of the pool, looking in the pool, wishing they can get in the pool. There were some parents there with them. I went through the whole thing. I asked them what was the situation, what was going on. Of course, none of the applications had been filled out. They didn't have the forms. That was number one. They didn't have the forms. Now, I know you were asked the Recreation Department why they don't have the forms. They'll tell you that they gave them to the Recreation Department, which I don't know where the Parkside Recreation Department is. If somebody can tell me where the Parkside Recreation Department is, I would like to know. I'm sure they don't know because I don't know. All right? So, therefore, no parents knew about that one. The other one was come to the Township Recreation Department. We don't have no cars to go 5 miles to come to the Recreation Department for the kids to go to the pool. That leaves out another segment of the kids that want to get in the pool. Okay? Now, I went and asked a bunch of kids there, not in the pool. They're still outside looking in the pool. Now, I went through the rules and regulations. Now, you know there's about 155 rules and regulations that they govern the kids in the pool. After going through all the rules and regulations, I'm going to ask you guys point blank. They have 2 directives in here. One, children under 12 years age must be accompanied by an adult. Now, that is crazy for us. Now, you have to understand that this pool is in a particular type of community. We've been there a long time. Our kids are much older, they're a little more mature than other kids at 8, 9, 10, 12 years old. I would like for that be accompanied by an adult. Now, you either want the adults to be there or you want the adults to work. It's my understanding that you want most mothers to get off of welfare and go to work. Now, if they're working, surely enough the kids can get in the pool without them being there. They can't be at 2 places at the same time. If you can drop that age down, the accompanied by an adult, drop the age down from 12, they had it down to 11. There's another part in here where they had the age to 11. I want it to be 8. Most of the kids outside, the 25 kids out of the pool, they was all 8, 9 years old. They be in the park all day long. They play basketball. They work. They're adults. They're young adults. You know, 12 years old. That's almost a grown man in our neighborhood. Okay, if you can lower that to 8 years of age, everybody in the community would be wonderfully happy if you can get just that one thing changed from 12 to 8. That'll take care of most of the kids and get in the pool. Okay. After you're going through all the rules and regulations, and we signed all the papers and got everything done, and we will abide by, they have things here where we will abide by all the rules and regulations that's in here. Yes, we will, every one of them. There's one other mitigating factor that we want you to change. At the end of all this, they had the audacity to ask for birth certificates. I asked some other person, they said, you mean they asked for birth certificate? What would they need with birth? I don't know. It's just another policy that stymied the kids from getting in the pool. I'm going to tell you what it is. You know I know what's going on. It's just something else to stop. Ain't nobody going to give you no birth certificates. I mean, you know, what are you going to do with birth certificates? As a matter of fact, I'm going to tell you what the parents say. Damn, I'm going to give you all the information. I got 3 or 4 kids, got 4 or 5 different last names. I don't want you to know all that information. I'm not going to give them that information. They won't give it. They're mad about it, asking for birth certificates. If you can get that changed, I know. If you can get that changed, the kids that live in the neighborhood ain't their business about the birth certificates. It ain't the record department nobody's damn birth certificate. If you can get that waived, where the kids won't need a birth certificate, and the other thing, the age limit down to 8 years of age, I think I can work with that, and I can work with some of the parents and the families where we can get most of the kids in the pool, and they can have a good time for the summer. As of right now, okay, none of the kids in the pool. Thank you very much. That's all I have to say.
Thanks. Okay, we're in the public discussion portion of the meeting, item 8. It's the only time to speak of things of a general nature. Anyone else who would like to speak to us at this point? Yeah, Mr. Peterson?
Lars Peterson, 12 Lake Avenue. I'm going to follow up on what my wife had to say. You're passing all kinds of ordinances. One of them is odor ordinance. As you know, the health department is supposed to enforce that. They have business hours from 8:30 in the morning to 4:30 in the afternoon. So during off hours, that's when the offenders come out and start cooking and burning. You may remember the problems we have with molecular wire at Shirley Avenue. That's when they were doing their dirty work. It took you 4 years to get them out of town. I hope that you can do something for us with the neighbors we have. And I ask you to say what you would do if you lived under those conditions. Thank you.
Excuse me, sir.
Okay, thank you.
Sir,
Oh, Mr. Peterson, we've got a question for you here.
I'm just wondering, do you call the police when you smell it, or do you call them the next day?
We call it when we smell it.
Okay. All right,
Yes.
thank you.
Okay, thank you. Okay. Anyone else who hasn't spoken want to address us?
Seeing no one come forward, Mayor, a motion to close the public portion of the meeting.
Seconded.
Moved and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? Motion is carried. Thank you very much for the input. We now come to item number 9, standing committee reports, and I think there's been a couple meetings since our last meeting. So the first is administration. It hasn't met in a while? No, nothing for that one, okay.
No, right.
Okay, and financial oversight? Councilman Kramer?
Nothing to report.
Okay. And public safety, I think you just met?
Mayor, we just met today, mainly reviewing.
Councilman Casanella?
I'm sorry, thank you. Mainly reviewing updates. Our police chief and some of his staff were there updating us on ongoing effort to make sure all of our schools in town have safety plans relevant to crisis, disaster, school shooting, whatever, and briefed us on that, and everything in that respect is coming along fine, although take a while longer to get everybody on the same page, but it's coming along very well, and that was the main topic today, Mayor.
Okay, thank you. We have 5 standing council committees, that's what I'm going through, where the committees are just made up of council members. This is the 4th of 5, Land Use, Open Space, Recreation, and Parks. that meant?
Yeah, you didn't cover land use.
Any one of us? No? Okay. And the final one is Public Works.
There
Councilman Chi?
hasn't been a Public Works meeting recently. We had one scheduled for Friday. I understand from the manager that the township engineer can't be there that day, so we're going to have to schedule it a little later in the month.
Okay, thank you very much. Oh, pardon me, Councilman Kramer.
There was one, I don't believe I reported on the last one about the changes in charges for the convenience center. I know I reported it at financial oversight, but I don't think I reported it.
I think that what's happened is we've gotten off track on committee reports due to the length of some council
Right.
meetings in the last month or so. And so I don't think that you reported on
No,
that.
I don't think I did. So
I
that was,
thought it was.
there was a,
It was free for all the metal.
that-
Oh, well, yeah, was that?
I did
maybe-
that, I also did that at admin, but I don't think I've done it to the public. So, yeah, well, whether I did it or not, I'll repeat it I'll do it very quickly. It could have been done by now. So we had a Public Works meeting, and as it turned out, I was the only one there. But what was discussed was changing some charges at the convenience center for things that don't really cost us anything. So, metal, brush, let's see, what were the other three?
For the free ones?
Yeah.
Metal, brush, electronic devices, computers, and what have you.
Batteries.
And batteries.
Right. So those, now at the convenience center, you can bring them and you will not be charged. There'll be a separate line for those. And the reason is, we either make money off of them or it doesn't cost us anything, so why should we be charging our citizens for those? So, that's it.
So Councilman, not to overly correct you, but we have to do an ordinance amendment for that, because there's a fee schedule in the ordinance, so it's not immediate. We'll hopefully introduce that ordinance on April 12th, and it'll go through the
August
ordinance process.
August 12th. Yeah.
I'm sorry, August 12th.
We get it right together.
Between the two of us, we'll get it right, exactly. August 12th meeting, introduction of amendment to ordinance for fees.
Okay, thank you. And so now we come to item number 10, council comments. I forget which way.
I'll start there.
Okay.
Flip a coin.
Okay, I guess I'll start here. Councilwoman Rosalind Sherman. I guess start making notes, I remember.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I had just two quick things. One, as always, is the cultural arts issues. We have an event on the 20th of September. I will keep reminding everyone, every council meeting, so you make it a permanent mark on your calendar and plan on attending. It's going to be the Franklin Day Festival, and it will be a festival. We're going to have music, we're going to have children's games, we're going to have an arts show, we're going to have craft vendors, we're going to have food. Hopefully, we'll have a fire engine and police car and all other things that the kids can enjoy, and hopefully even a pet adoption day, and we're still growing. So please mark your calendar. This will be a great day. The weather is going to be absolutely perfect. I've ordered it, so I look forward to everybody being there. The other thing, I was not at the last council meeting, and there was something I was going to talk about that was in the newspaper, and I thought it was so cute. It's a little late, but I don't want to, I was reading it, and it made me smile. One of our principals, Bill Grippo, made a deal with his students at McAfee School. If they reached their goal of reading books over the school year, he told them that he was going, well, I guess they came up with the idea from some other program, that he was to sleep on the roof of the school for one night. And the picture in the paper was Principal Grippo climbing the ladder to go up to the roof. But I just thought it was so cute. Grippo said he would come down from the roof briefly Tuesday evening. I'm sorry, wrong one. For his overnight stay, Grippo said he brought a fold-up bed, a comforter, a pillow, and a teddy bear.
So he was well protected during the night and had someone to snuggle with. I just thought it was adorable, and I just wanted to share that with everyone. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, thank you. Councilman James Vasanella.
I'm not sure the details, referring to Ms. Peterson, situation there. I do remember how the long struggle with molecular wire, and congratulate you for keeping the fight going. And although we were dealing with a lot of legalities and maneuvers that were unavoidable because of our due process in our country. As far as this situation, I don't know all the facts, but I'm assuming that when there is a situation that is needed, our health department is available to review or investigate or respond or monitor. I'm sure it's not, they don't normally, they have regular business hours, but either them or some aspect of health, law enforcement, somebody has the capability to investigate or monitor if a situation, just like eventually with molecular wire. I don't know all the details. I'm sure the manager will respond to you this evening and perhaps talk to you in private, but somebody is doing the extent to what you are saying, and I don't know, I'm not judge and jury, but I'm sure we will make every effort to curtail that type of activity if they're running in their house as a manufacturing plant. But anyway, as far as the issues, I don't know what the liabilities issues are with the pools and the ages, but again, I'm sure our manager will comment on that. We run by strict guidelines of our risk management professionals who guide us and tell us what we should and shouldn't do in that respect. But again, without knowing all of the details, I don't want to say what the actual legal age could or should be. That's really it as far as responding to comments for the public. There is one item on here just to point out. A lot of people in our town use J.F. Kennedy Boulevard. We'll be paving the second portion of it, assuming the resolution gets passed tonight, allocating the money for the second portion at JFK, and then subsequently, either later this year or early next year, we'll be doing the following portion. That's it, Mayor. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilman Rajiv Prasad.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Mr. and Mrs. Peterson, we have a health department meeting scheduled for the next council meeting, and the so-called health officer who is from the county will be here from 6 to 7 before the council meeting. So please come to it, and we can ask him to look into this whole thing and respond to us, because his inspectors are the ones that go out and, determine if there's a health department violation. So I guess orders would fall under the health department. And that would be my advice to you for the next council meeting, which I believe is August 12th. So 6 to 7, right here. And he'll be here, and he'll be presenting the annual report of the health department to the council, because the council is actually the Board of Health. They're, operating under the council's, direction. So it's mandatory that we have this once a year, and so happens it is being held. And so if you would please come, then we would be able to, get this addressed, and maybe the manager can prep him ahead of time.
They're fully aware of it.
Okay. And then we can address these issues and, all right. Now, as far as the pool is concerned, I feel that, Mr. Tibbs, if you've got a lifeguard there is it possible that we could make some adjustments there? I know,
I would recommend strongly against it, Councilman. We're not there, the lifeguards are there to provide a safe swim environment and not to provide childcare. There's a reason why we have the rules. We have insurance that we have to abide by. We need to certainly keep in line with the JIF recommendations and rules that are established by our insurance carrier for the pool, and I think that it's a lengthy discussion that we should probably have offline.
okay. Let's set that up and let's have a discussion on it, because, summer's getting by and we need to do something for the kids and keep them productively occupied and healthy. And maybe we could find some help from the community. If somebody's willing to be the collective parent to them, maybe we could all sit down together and work out some kind of a solution. So we'll schedule that. And beyond that, please do show up for the fireworks this Friday. They go off at 9 o'clock as soon as it gets dark. And there'll be food and entertainment. Our Cultural Arts Committee is going to have a lot of entertainment, and they do a good job from every year, from last year itself. Representative Rush Holt, I want to say that he is one of those very unusual representatives, and I've put it to the test in the sense that I was going to Washington, D.C., and I needed passes to go see the White House, and his staff was phenomenal in being able to get you those passes, and I hope whoever replaces him will keep that staff, which is just crackerjack, and those people are well-connected, and they do a great job for the constituents, and he makes it a personal point to be there in the office to welcome you, and his staff actually gives you the tour of the Capitol. So you get a personalized tour, and, that's very unusual for any representative. So we're losing a very good representative in Congress, and I wish him all the best. But I guess we understand that the toll it takes on anybody is tough. Beyond that, everybody have a great summer, and look forward to seeing you next August 12th. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Councilwoman Kimberly Francois.
I don't have any comments, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. Councilman Ted Chase.
One thing I'll report on is that last night we had the second meeting of the Community Garden Committee. Mr. Tibbs is an active member, and we got some ideas for particularly getting maybe some help from Rutgers Community Extension to give the gardeners some more ideas, or, for instance, organic protection against pests. But next year, I think we'll want to have a community development block grant application to expand the garden at Naaman Williams Park. One other problem is that while we have gotten grants for the major projects there, and major is like $5,000, we don't have any money for smaller items such as, say, getting a weed whacker or a rototiller, or even a replacement wheelbarrow for the garden. So probably want to talk to the manager about that. About the pool, I understand that there certainly will be requirements from our insurance carrier, and I would ask whether it says that we have to have one adult per 8-year-old child, or can one adult come with several of them. But certainly, we ought to be able to have somebody from the rec department there, say, after the camp closes for a little while to receive the paperwork that is needed to allow children to use the pool. And I don't see the need for a birth certificate. It just, sometimes you get the feeling that the rec department is trying to make life difficult there. I understand the insurance requirements, but let's do everything we can to make the pool as available as possible to the neighborhood. For Mr. and Mrs. Peterson, I think what you want, as you said, is an odor detector with the police force, because you're not going to get a health inspector there at 11:30 on a Saturday night. You're just not. We need an objective way to detect whether there is a real problem when they report one. So I hope the manager can look into that if such a detector is not too expensive. And I think that's all I have to comment on at this time. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. Councilman Phil Kramer.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I would just like to acknowledge the presence of those people concerned about Catalpa Park and Middlebush Park. I acknowledge that you're here, and I respect your silence, and it is appreciated, but your presence is noted. A few announcements. September 7th is the second, I'm still going to call it Bike Without Fear because I can't remember the new name for it, on Canal Road, the second one for this year. On September 28th, the now third annual police softball game where the police play the seniors, and there's rumors that the fire departments may be involved in this as well, and it benefits the food bank. I will now make my first shameless announcement of the Canal Fest on October 18th, which is last time we estimated, and we get to make the official estimate, so it can be whatever we want, but we estimated 3,000 people there. And then I think there was clearly over 2,000. And I too am looking forward to Congressman Holt's appearance. I always do. I've put out some feelers to see if perhaps Senator Booker can show up for our 4th of July. I wouldn't put your hopes up for that. He's certainly busy, but I've put out some inquiries. As far as the pool, the idea's already been floated. There's no reason why one parent can't take turns and be there for 5 or 6 children as long as they're responsible for those children. And then both of these have been announced separately, but I thought it was worth announcing together. Our Chief of Police, Chief Larry Roberts, is the Vice President of the State Chiefs Association, and as I announced last time, Pat Colligan is the President of the State PBA. So, Frank, we like to brag about how we have the best police force in the state. Clearly, that is recognized outside of this town. So we're not just making that up. Our people are reaching high places in the state, and all of council is very proud of them. And that ends my comments, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. Councilman, right, not there? No. Councilman Brian Regan.
Thank you.
Sorry,
Mr.
Deputy Mayor Brian Regan.
Thank you,
Pardon me.
Mr. Mayor. Just one quick thing I forgot to mention in my report. So on July 21st, the Franklin Food Bank, you may see signs around the town. They're sponsoring a golf outing that's going to be a fundraiser. So I believe our township manager and some of his friends will be participating in that event. I expect to also be able to switch my commitments at work to be able to attend that. Obviously, the food bank in Franklin serves the majority of its, clients are Franklin-based. So it's very helpful. It's one of these things we can do in contributing to the food bank that makes a difference in our community. The direct contribution to that has a direct impact on lives of our own Franklin Township residents. So anyone who would be interested in joining, go to their website. They'll have the registration form there. Or if you cannot play but would like to make a donation, you can also do that through the website. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, thank you. And just a couple on the, with the pool, the Franklin regulations regarding children being there are not inconsistent, meaning they are consistent with what many of the homeowners, condo, townhouse associations have. In addition, just for information's sake, I'm not saying anything shouldn't change. My daughters have been in safety town run by the town camp, softball, etc. And as I'm recalling, they've had to show their birth certificate when they've done these various things. So it's the town is consistent all over. If we want to change all the policies, that's fine. I'm just saying one part of town is not being inconsistent with another as far as that goes. And that's all, short and sweet for today, too. That concludes my comments, and I'll ask our town manager, Mr. Vornlocker, if he has something for us.
Several items. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. One, Councilman Kramer, it's walk and roll, like rock and roll, walk and roll. So that will be September 7th along Canal Road. As far as the pool, I'll just address some things. I think that without belaboring this, the purpose behind a birth certificate is to do exactly, I guess, what Mr. Tibbs is relating to, and that's to determine age so that one can determine whether that child is permitted to be at the pool without adult supervision or not. And really, the only way that we can verify age is a birth certificate, and that goes for, as the mayor said, all of the programs that we operate that have some sort of age restriction. That's the generally accepted method of determining the age of a child is by showing a birth certificate. Two park-related issues that I'd like to bring to the attention of the public and to council. The first one will be July 22nd at 7 p.m. At the last council meeting, I was given direction as to scheduling a meeting with those residents in the on the perimeter of Middlebush Park who are directly affected by the lack of screening between their properties and Middlebush Park. That meeting is scheduled for this room here at the council chambers on July 22nd at 7 p.m. Tomorrow, there will be a mailing to those directly affected, and there will also be hand-delivered postcards to just ensure that everyone gets notified. I believe there's 22 homes in total that are in direct contact and share a property line with the park and are affected by the lack of screening in that park. There will be an opportunity to look over the different options that we have to provide additional screening and fencing for those properties that the fence was intended for as part of the original park plan. So that's July 22nd, 7 p.m. Again, limited to those residents that are property line, share a property line with our park. And on August 12th, the council meeting, as a council discussion item, I've spoken with Eric Zwirling, who is the director of the Rutgers Noise Technical Assistance Center, and he and I will be meeting prior to August 12th and paying a visit to Middlebush Park, but then he will be here to give some educational background to council on noise and sound systems, and also be here to answer your questions if you should have them for him. So that is August 12th at the council meeting. And Mr. Mayor, I have nothing else.
Okay.
Mr. Mayor.
Oh, Councilwoman Sherman.
If I may, I appreciate it. I was not at the last council meeting, and I understand there were several council people who wanted to attend the meeting, the screening meeting, and that's very comforting to think that everyone has that concern and wants to be part of the whole thing. And since it became too many people, from what I'm gathering, the decision was made that no council person should be present. I would just like to ask, and for consideration of the other council members, I have been working with the people on Gauguin and Charles since the very beginning of the plan for the park. I've been involved with them from the very, very beginning, from the get-go. I've taken the good side and the bad side. I was not very popular when the park was finally approved, but I've worked very hard to try to bring their constituent issues to the forefront, and certainly they have cooperated in making that happen. I wasn't here to ask, and I'd like to ask now, since they are constituents that I've worked very closely with, and I would like to be at that meeting. I'd like to let them know I am still supporting them, and I'm not just disappearing, since these things have reached a more sensitive level. So I don't necessarily ask for an answer right now, but I would appreciate consideration for allowing me to attend that meeting on July 22nd as their councilwoman. Thank you.
I'd give an answer now. I have no problem with that.
Anyone else weighing in?
No problem.
In my opinion, I think it should be all or nothing. Nothing against you, but if you're there, just sunshine it and let all of us.
No, well, I won't ask for
there.
that. No, this is not a decision to be made by the council. I would just be there for support. So if it's all or nothing, I withdraw my request.
The evolution of it is everyone wanted to get involved, and I simply said, just let the manager handle it. She has particular real estate in this, so I have no problem with that. It wasn't so much that no council member should be there, it was just let the manager handle it. But I'm also not willing to make a fight over this. I'm
not either. I just wanted them to know I was still there for them and involved. But that's okay. If it's that, I don't know, that kind of decision, I won't ask them.
Okay.
No, that's all right. You don't have
That's
to.
council decision. I mean, if you're going to be there, I think any of us who may want to wander in and watch,
Okay.
that should be also,
No,
unless
that's
you want.
fine. Then leave it as it was. Thank you.
Okay. And I have no problem with sun shining it either, though. Okay. So now we come to council discussion items number 12, of which we do not have any this evening. Next, we have approval of the minutes. They are item number 13, A and B, Township Council Work Session Regular Meeting of June 24th, 2014, that was at 7 o'clock p.m., and the Township Council Executive Session, June 24th, 2014. Is there a motion for the aforesaid minutes to be approved as submitted?
So moved.
Seconded.
Moved and seconded. Ms. McCarthy, please poll the council on approval of the minutes.
Councilman Chase,
Abstain since I wasn't there.
Councilwoman Francois,
Yes.
Councilman Kramer,
Yes.
Mayor Levine,
Yes.
Councilman Prasad,
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Regan,
Yes.
Councilwoman Sherman,
Abstain.
Councilman Vasanella.
Yes.
Okay, motion is carried. Next, we have approval of the warrants. The warrants are the bills that we pay. Warrants in the amount of $2,960,054.29 on July 8th, 2014 are presented to the Township Council for payment. Is there a motion for the warrants to be paid as read?
So moved.
Seconded.
Moved and seconded. Madam Clerk, please poll the council on payment of the warrants.
Councilman Chase,
Yes.
Councilwoman Francois,
Yes.
Councilman Kramer,
Yes.
Mayor Levine,
Yes.
Councilman Prasad,
Here.
Deputy Mayor Regan,
Yes.
Councilwoman Sherman,
Yes.
Councilman Vasanella.
Yes.
Okay, motion is carried. Next, we come to our ordinance adoption and hearing. Usually ordinances go into law after two votes. There's usually one vote where we introduce it, Then generally, the next meeting, it's voted on a second time. At that second meeting, the public can comment on that particular ordinance, and if it goes past a second time, then that ordinance goes into law. So there's one of each, meaning there's one ordinance for a hearing and second vote, and one introduction, and then I'll tell you the date of the other, when that's going to be final vote. So our ordinance our ordinance adoption, public hearing, and second reading is 15A, ordinance 4065-14, an ordinance to amend the code of the Township of Franklin, County of Somerset, State of New Jersey, more particularly, Chapter 384, Water, Section 384-19, curb connection capital fee for calendar year 2014. This is for new buildings, the cost for the water to be connected to a person. It's actually it's a standard formula. Our finance department calculates it. There's no creativity there, and they've come up with a formula, and that's in our ordinance. The township attorney has approved the affidavit of publication. The public hearing is in order. Is there a motion to open the meeting for public hearing on this ordinance?
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? Motion is
Easy
carried.
one. Easy.
Meeting is open for public hearing on this particular ordinance. Anyone wishing to speak, please raise your hand.
Seeing no one come forward, Mayor, I motion to close the public portion of the
Second.
hearing.
Moved and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? Motion is carried. Public hearing is closed on this ordinance. Thank you. Is there a motion for final passage of the ordinance and publication in accordance with law?
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Ms. McCarthy, please pull the council to item 15A, ordinance 4065-14, please.
Councilman Chase,
Yes?
Councilwoman Francois, Councilman Kramer,
Yes.
Mayor Levine,
Yes.
Councilman Prasad,
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Regan,
Yes.
Councilwoman Sherman,
Yes.
Councilman Vasanel.
Yes.
Okay, motion is carried. We now come to item 16. That's our only introduction and first reading. It's item 16A on the agenda, ordinance 4066-14, an ordinance of the Township Council, an ordinance of the Township of Franklin, County of Somerset, State of New Jersey, authorizing the acceptance of conservation easement from Junchlow LLC to the Township of Franklin for premises known as Block 88.02, Lot 78, Veronica Avenue. It's a fairly standard conservation easement over on Veronica Avenue, getting close to the 27 junction. The foregoing ordinance is presented to the Township Council for adoption on first reading, posting, publication in accordance with law, and public hearing and final adoption on Tuesday, August 12th, 2014, at 7 o'clock p.m. here at the Municipal Complex. Is there a motion to introduce?
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Madam Clerk, please pull the council on item 16A, ordinance 4066-14, please.
Councilman Chase,
Yes.
Councilwoman Francois, Yes. Councilman Kramer,
Yes.
Mayor Levine,
Yes.
Councilman Prasad,
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Regan,
Yes.
Councilwoman Sherman,
Yes.
Councilman Vasanella.
Yes.
Okay, motion is carried. Next, we come to our consent agenda. Consent agenda are various resolutions. On today, we've got A through P. I don't think any others have been added. They're of a generally routine nature, upon which we can vote in a single vote. It is any council person's prerogative to take something off for a separate vote, and as always, certainly to discuss it. So the consent agenda, items 17A through 17P, as listed on the consent agenda portion of this meeting, are presented to the Township Council for adoption. Is there a motion for the consent agenda? Discussion?
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Ms. McCarthy, please poll the council on the consent agenda.
Councilman Chase,
Yes.
Councilwoman Francois. Yes. Councilman Kramer,
Yes.
Mayor Levine,
Yes.
Councilman Prasad,
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Regan,
Yes.
Councilwoman Sherman.
Yes.
Councilman Vasanella.
Yes.
Okay, motion is carried. We come next to item number 18 on the agenda. Resolutions voted on separately. just like the consent agenda, they're usually of a generally routine nature. They're voted on separately because they were added after the initial agenda was made, so they would have gone on the consent agenda, but because they were put on afterwards, they're separately listed. There are items 18A through C.
D.
D.
Pardon me, D, there we go, A through D on the agenda. So items 18A through D are listed as resolutions voted on separately. They're presented to the Township Council for adoption. And again, they were added to the agenda since Monday, that's why they're separate. Is there a motion for resolutions voted on separately or discussion?
Can we vote on them collectively?
Yes.
Oh, yeah, pardon me. Is there a motion for all four? Sorry.
So moved.
Second.
I should have been clear, pardon me.
Collectively, separately.
Absolutely. Ms. McCarthy, please poll the council on items 18A through D, resolutions voted on separately, please.
Councilman Chase?
Yes.
Councilwoman Francois?
Yes.
Councilman Kramer?
Yes.
Mayor Levine?
Yes.
Councilman Prasad?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Regan?
Yes.
Councilwoman Sherman?
Yes.
Councilman Vasanella?
Yes.
Motion is carried. Next, we have item 18, pardon me,
Nine.
item number 19, old business, 2014 boards and commission vacancies. Is there a nomination for any vacancies?
Mr. Mayor?
Yes, Councilman Kramer, please.
I don't have one, but one, council has done a very good job this year, as we have in the last several years, having relatively few vacancies. But I thought I would just announce what the vacancies are, simply because people out there may want to, where it may pique some interest. So Advisory Board of Health, student non-voting member, Advisory Rec Council, a regular member, and 14 members. The Cable Television Advisory Committee has opening for one regular member. Cultural Arts Council has a number of openings. The Rent Leveling Board has openings. I don't remember when the last time the Rent Leveling Board met, but it has multiple openings. Sewage Authority has one opening, and the Senior Citizens Advisory Committee has an opening for both a non-senior citizen and for a senior citizen. And that's the list. So if anyone's interested, contact the clerk, go on the website. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. Next is item 20, executive session. Those for those few instances, like personnel matters or contract negotiations, when the council can meet in private. And we do not have any this evening, any past executive sessions when the subject of those executive sessions no longer needs to be left confidential. Those minutes will be made public.
Since we're done so early tonight, I think we should have the attorney schedule one just because we're leaving so early.
Let's discuss something.
I think this is a world record.
It is.
It certainly is.
So now we come to item number 20, and once again, July and August, there's only one meeting per month on the second Tuesday of the month.
21.
For all of us in the past, happy July 4th. Please come to fireworks. And is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? Motion is carried. Thank you very much.